Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. This time I take a look at the 1999 Spoon Civic Type R, one of the coolest cars in the game, at least it was for me growing up. I don't know what it is about a game with no customization, and when you see a car with a black bonnet and a black wing, you're like, yeah, that's the peak of modified car design. I guess you could say it does look quite clean with the black wheels, and also the spoon written on the back window, which used to be cool, and then people started putting deadly and Instagram handles on the back of Mini Coopers, and it became uncool. Anyways, if you know this game, you know this car. This car is the Redline King. I think it revs out to about 13,500 RPM, and only in GT3 did they actually expand that to about 15,500 RPM or something ridiculous. Either way, statistically, front engine, front wheel drive, 254 horsepower, no torque, 754 kilos. It isn't the best, so I'm not expecting this to be great, but we will find out. It is going to get 6 laps of the Motorsports Land track in order to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 5 RS, which set a time of 27.806. This is unlikely to beat that, well, very unlikely in fact. This car, we've had the 97 Civic Type R, 30.859. From what I remember, that car actually run naturally aspirated with no turbocharger, so it could have made more power, but I've saved the turbo for the 98 model, which I think is going to be the quickest Civic we have go around here, so yeah, we'll see how this one does. Like I say, I think the Type R had more power than this, even though it was naturally aspirated. I think it did make more power than this, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see. What is it? EG Civic's like 30.7, I think. That Turbo Ferio we had go around was like a 30.3, so probably not on that level, but we'll see. The handling on this is interesting. It's quite fun, if also slightly slidey and terrifying to drive. You actually have to use first gear in this. The gear ratios are very long, which for a car with a high red line I wasn't really expecting, but that's the way it has gone on this one. The turning grip on it is phenomenal. It's just the rear end wants to get a little bit wayward once you're in first gear. 30.6, wow, okay, this is actually not bad. That's quicker than that Type R. I think it's... The problem is with this, just feeling the way it drives, is it is quick. There's genuinely some pace in it, even though it's got no torque whatsoever. The gearbox lets it actually sit in the rev range for a decent amount of time, so you can actually exploit the revs for a change. The problem is, it's just weird to drive. It's fun. For a front-wheel drive car, this is hilarious to drive. It drives like a sort of gymkhana set-up four-wheel drive car, but it is a little bit on the uncontrollable side, it does have to be said. Which is weird. It's not really an issue I was expecting it to have with this car, but there you go. For 254 horsepower though, this is pretty rock solid. For a 30.6, this might be one of the quickest low horsepower cars we've had. I'm not going to go up and down the leaderboard because I'll take forever trying to figure out what's what, but other than like something like the Fiat Punto, I think had less power than this, but yeah. It just shows you power isn't everything. It's just a lot. To the line. I missed the shift. Do you know what though? That's actually pretty good. The handbrake on this doesn't seem to work. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can sort of gymkhana this about. Interesting. Yeah, it's weird to drive. It really is very strange to drive. It's quite a handful, but you can't argue with the fact it is quick, and I do think there is a bit more time in there. It's just trying to get it to behave. You can see it sort of... it's just really hard to explain how that drives. That's a very weird car to drive. I like it, but it's weird. Yeah, it could go a little bit quicker. A 30.628 will place this into 65th place. It's quicker than the Acura Integra Type R, quicker than an EG Civic, quicker than the Type R that I mentioned before. Alpha 166 Mercury Cougar, which actually had double the power of this. Opel Astra. It is not quite as quick as the Civic Ferio, but then again, that Civic Ferio had a lot of power. And also, I think the lap on that was pretty much spot on. So, I think if you could get this tamed, that Civic Ferio time might not be so out of reach, but I don't know. It is a difficult car to handle, this one. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time when I'll be driving something completely different and also won't have as high as a red line. Until then, farewell.